I'm Jake, and I'm a doctoral student at the University of California, Irvine. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about scaffolding. Before we begin, I'd like to start with a little warm-up exercise. Here we have a picture of the Russian alphabet, or Cyrillic, which is derived from Greek characters, along with the associated English pronunciations. Everyone please take a few moments to familiarize yourself with it. Okay, now that we're familiar with Cyrillic, let's learn a few words in Russian. The first word is da, which is equivalent to the English word for yes. Da, yes. Okay, the next word is niet, which is equivalent to the English word for no. Niet, no. And finally, we have spasiba, which is equivalent to thank you. Spasiba, thank you. Now that we're familiar with both Cyrillic and a few Russian words, I'm going to let you independently try an exercise using what you know of Russian. I'd like you to, individually, take a few minutes and using your knowledge, translate the following from Russian to English. Okay, I'm just kidding. But can you imagine? Well, every day in classrooms, this is how math is presented to students. A brief introduction, a few simple problems, and then a push into the deep end. The need to gradually build from simple to complex is just as important in learning math as it is in learning a language. And we call this scaffolding. So what is scaffolding? Well, scaffolding is a pedagogical technique that gradually and progressively moves students from the most basic tasks to more difficult tasks. It is intended to build up students' understanding like a ladder, while gradually taking away teacher supports, making students more responsible for their own learning. Scaffolding is derived from the work of Russian psychologist Lev Vygotsky and his zone of proximal development. We can explain this by imagining three concentric circles. In the innermost circle is all of the things that a student can do easily and without help. It's their comfort zone, so to speak. The outer circle represents all of the things that students can't do with or without help yet because they lack the required knowledge. The middle circle is the zone of proximal development, where, with the appropriate assistance, students grow from their comfort zone to be able to do the things they couldn't do before. Scaffolding is important for several reasons. However, there are two very important ones. The first is that with proper implementation, scaffolding can help to differentiate curriculum for students at their skill level, and this can help keep students from becoming bored or disengaged from the work, thereby reducing some behavioral issues in your classrooms. In this regard, scaffolding also improves access to math curriculum, which in turn improves the equity of our math classrooms. While there are no hard and fast rules on how to implement scaffolding in every individual classroom, there are 6 general considerations which can help to improve your practice. First, defining terms early on. Second, assessing prior knowledge. Third, making the process visible. Fourth, giving students time. Fifth, giving students tools. And finally, sixth, taking time to reflect often. defining terms early on has to do with decoding some of the language associated with mathematics. For students, it helps to define the academic language involved with a task, to use it, and to help them use it while performing the task. Assessing prior knowledge refers to figuring out where a student's comfort zone is so that we can move them into their zone of proximal development. In a perfect world, there would be a simple test and concrete steps, but unfortunately, it's not that easy. One of the best ways to assess students' knowledge when working with them is to ask probing questions about a task. Asking students to define terms or explain concepts in their own words can help you build a clearer picture of their background knowledge. You, the mentor, are an integral part of the scaffolding process, and so it is important for you to help make the process visible. You can do this by modeling the problems for students, verbalizing out loud using academic language your thought process as you solve problems, and making performance expectations explicit. Let students know exactly what the finished product ought to look like. One of the most salient constraints in the classroom that we struggle with is time. However, this is one of the most important things for helping students grow. We need to allow students time to grapple with and make sense of tasks. Using highly structured group discussions is a great way to allow students to work together to utilize a limited amount of time. In addition to giving students time to process information, it is also helpful to give students tools to help them gather and organize their thoughts. This can be done through the use of graphic organizers such as bubble maps, or through the use of Cornell notes, or really any other tools which may be helpful. Finally, it's good to take time during the process to pause and reflect about the problems together with your students. Breaking tasks and problems into smaller, manageable chunks can help us to remember to take breaks. We can use these breaks to help make the learning visible. Asking students to verbalize their knowledge using academic language and probing student knowledge of tasks and processes using questions. In summary, scaffolding is a pedagogical strategy that can help students move from their comfort zone to where they can't currently operate. Broadly, there are 6 strategies to help implement scaffolding in your own practice. First, define terms early on. Second, assess a student's prior knowledge. Third, make the process visible. Fourth, give students time. And fifth, give students tools they need to be successful. Finally, take time to reflect often with your students about what it is that they're learning. I hope that these strategies help you to improve your own practice and the skills of those students you work with. Thank you and good luck.
Your goal is to get all the cups into one tower on top of a single pad. They have those placers. Okay, let's review the rules. If you have a single cup, what happens? You're allowed to go to the left or to the right. If you have a tower of two, where are you allowed to go? 2 spaces to the left and 2 spaces to the right. Okay. If you have 3, 3 and on. What is the objective again? Can somebody explain the objective? Do you remember what I said? What is the objective? To have all cups stacked in one tower. How many cups do you have right now? 5. After you pass this challenge, we'll have another challenge, which is 2 by 3. So you're going to use 6 cups. You're going to make it in a rectangle of 2 by 3. And same rules, but you're not allowed to go diagonally. You're only allowed to go left and right, forward and backwards. So diagonally, it's like crossing. But that's like afterwards. Okay? You guys may begin.
Hello. 1, 2, 3. And then I go back. 1, 2.
Okay.
And then if there's 4 in here, I'll count here and there. Something like that, right?
Something like that, yes. I wonder if you have considered, so I'm noticing that everybody's holding on to the ones that they made towers. I wonder if you're allowed to do the other, to move another. Are you allowed? Okay. Yeah, so have you tried this idea?
I'll try it right now.
Okay, and did you already start always with 1 cup? Have you tried starting with another cup? How many? 3, okay. But they have to be over there, so put them over there. Okay, now what you can do? Are you allowed to skip all the way? If you're holding a single, I like the idea of having to use different cups. So that came from you guys. However, try different ways, right? So you're not allowed to skip if you only have 1 cup. Okay, keep trying. Oh, you want to show us what you just did? You're going too fast for me. So that's 1, okay. Okay. That's still 1. That's okay. That's okay. That's why I say let's talk about it and do it a little slower, yeah? Can you go 1 back maybe so we can see? Can everybody look at his idea and see how we can improve upon it? That's only 1, right? Let's restart. We'll do it together as a group. Please. Okay, so the rules are exactly the same, but the challenge right now is you're not allowed to go across diagonally. Okay, so you can go up or down, left or right in the amount of cups you have. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So 1 time, okay? Hold on. You just jumped. You're going too fast for me. Restart. So 1, okay, stop. And then what is your next idea? So this has 2, so you're gonna go diagonal, not diagonally, but So 1, 2, I agree. Hold on, you're not supposed to pick up a cup. Right, so if you have how many here? 3, and you have to go 1, 2, 3. But I like how you started, so keep working. But how many then you have to do it this way? Okay, let's try it.
One.
Okay, I agree. 2, 1. Okay. Hold on, okay. This move had more cups, but you only did 1 move, so that's where we need to consider something else. Yeah. So when you were holding two, you had to do the two spaces. Okay. One. Okay. Hey! Amazing. See? Hard work pays off. Do you want to figure out a different way, or you want to continue the next challenge? Okay, so different challenge. We're going to need the extra power and we're going to do a 3 by 3. So now you have 6. And you're not allowed to go over. You're allowed to go right over now. You want to share with me? Okay, that's fine. Let's get together. Okay, do it for the camera.